Danger Street, issue 11. Tom King, Jorge Fornes on the art. This is the penultimate issue, as the Fate narration at the start tells us, even. And this is where a lot of the things are coming together. Jack Reacher comes to see Lady Cop at her place in the middle of the night, which is very threatening, to be honest, I would say, from anyone else. But he's like, hey, I need to talk to you. I need to talk to you about that Helmet of Fate, because he's actually flown the private plane belonging to the Commodore, and the outsiders have got him like under captivity, basically, on the plane. The monster girl's got her tentacles wrapped around him, and he's very upset about it the entire time. But the main gist of this is that Jack Reacher is asking her for the Helmet of Fate.
It's Jack Ryder.
Oh, so I keep saying Jack Reacher. You're right. Yep. Sorry.
I had to double check, and that's why I didn't correct you the first time.
No, you're totally right. You're totally. I'm saying
Reacher's a character on TV.
That's that stupid Tom Cruise character.
In two Tom Cruise movies.
But yeah, Jack Ryder is saying, "Hey, we need that Helmet of Fate and this is to reverse what's happened to the outsiders. This is to reverse that. That's what he wants it for. So it's actually quite a noble reason. But when he's asking for this, he turns into the Creeper to try and demand it. And Lady Cop pulls out her gun and...
Not on my watch.
Yeah, fires some shots off. Creeper's down on the floor, bleeding out. And we cut to outside where Warlord's with Non-Fat. And they're actually outside her house and they hear the gunshots. And he's like, okay, I'm going to go in and see what that was. And it turns out they were waiting till late at night to try and steal the Helmet of Fate because they want it to try and resurrect... the kid that died, I forget his name.
But is it bananas? There's bananas, Non-Fat. The grapes.
Is it Good Looks? Was Good Looks the one that died?
I think it was Good Looks.
Yeah. So they wanted to resurrect him, but Orion also wants to help them resurrect him because the spirit of Atlas is needed to stop the coming apocalypse, which is what Highfather and Darkseid are
trying to stop,
struggling to stop, and up in the apocalypse wherever they are. So like all these stakes are all coming together and they all revolve around the same object, and all these characters are finally starting to communicate because after Warlord comes in and Lady Cop immediately shoots him, so he's dying on the floor, which is this was almost a comedy of errors where I just started laughing at how much carnage there was in Lady Cop's kitchen. So Non-Fat hears these shots and decides to come in. There's a great full page spread of just all these bodies, like, Creepers lying there dying, Warlords lying there dying, and Lady Cop's just sitting up at the side, just like in shock of what's happened. Meanwhile, Orion's sitting with the other kids and like is getting restless because he's assuming that this is all going to not work and that they're all going to die with the apocalypse. And Non-Fat explains everything to Lady Cop that's happened, in his own way at least. But he explains that they're trying to resurrect the other kid with the helmet, so they need the helmet. And much to his surprise, she gets up and says, okay, let's go get the helmet. Although you're all a bunch of idiots, I don't have it in my house. It's police evidence. It's at the station. You morons.
I'm still a good cop.
Yeah, this was all really just kind of funny. Meanwhile, on the plane, the Commodore's getting mad. The other, like, two of the outsiders are just cutting off the one guy's arms that keep growing back, and they're using his diamond sword to do it. The one that was formed out of the arm, which is relevant because at the end of the issue, when they're trying to do the thing with the helmet to reverse everything that's happened, one of the indications at the end is a cliffhanger that it's working, is that sword becomes an arm again. We see that, and it implies that Warlord might be coming back to life, that the kid might be coming, because there's a great 2-page spread when they're getting ready to do this right before the end of the issue, where they've lined up Creeper, Warlord, and the corpse of the kid, who at this point is actually decomposed a bit, which I thought was a great touch.
Yep, because it shows the time has passed, I wasn't ready for that looking dark ritual looking thing. There at the end. So
there's something really funny about this just being in her kitchen, to be honest. I was
for sure
entertained by this. Starman's there by that point. He's shown up to help with the other kids. The only other scene that's probably worth mentioning in between this is that Lady Cop, when she's getting the helmet and the the diamonds that came from the crime scene. This other cop catches her and tries to stop her, and she has to knock him out with the bag. So there may be consequences for that. We'll see what that builds to. But it looks like it's working at the end, because the Starman's smiling, and there's this light sort of like beaming down on Warlord, and then you see that the sword's turned into an arm. So it's a really strong indication that something's working. All good stuff.
So what got me is you got Highfather and Darkseid are both, struggling with whatever's coming. And Highfather falls out, and Darkseid asks him, is the fifth world coming? And he says no, not yet, or along those lines. Yeah. Right? So are they trying to make the fifth world happen? Because,
no.
Jack Kirby's fourth world, like...
No. I think the way I read this is that if the apocalypse happens, then the fifth world will replace the fourth world, and their time will be done. And I think this was like a, no, not all hope is lost kind of statement. And I think what the book is kind of building up to here is how it's all these misfits and kids that are going to end up saving the universe by... reversing what they're reversing. So I think these kids and the not the outsiders. Oh yeah, the outsiders. Sorry,
the outsiders.
Outsiders they're going to end up working together. They're going to end up saving the day. I think what was interesting to me, from a thematic point of view, is this whole thing with the Commodore saying, "Oh, you're just a bunch of children. You're just children everywhere," and it cuts to a planet in the issue where it seems like this apocalypse is already starting, where this other planet's been destroyed. What was the planet here? Eutritus, I think.
Eutritus, yeah.
And it intentionally starts, the panel you see on the planet as a playground, right? And I thought that was interesting, that this force is coming in and killing everything, and we see it from the perspective of a playground, because the backstory to these characters, both the Outsiders and the Green Team, was that some character showed up to the playground and changed their world. And this idea that we're starting this world being destroyed with the playground, I think thematically is linked between those two. And I think the idea that it's all these characters from a playground that are inevitably going to like save the day and stop all this is very interesting. Because the whole thing the Commodore's yelling is that, no, like, I'm a winner and you're all losers. Like, the winners are the ones who played the game correctly, and then the losers are everyone else. But it's all the misfits and losers who are going to actually save the world, and this little shit's not going to be the one who does that. He's not actually the important one. And I think that's kind of some of the stuff that the book's playing with here. At least that's what I was getting from this issue.
Yeah, no, that's what I was getting from Tom King, is it feels like he's like, look, all these kids seem like they might not have it together, but these kids are the future. They are the ones that, if we give them the right tools, will eventually save everybody. And part of that is recognizing that we have to hand it over to kids at a certain point, right? So that's why I look at Lady Cop and how, like, when we see, like, we know she doesn't like to be called Lady Cop. She's not going to wait for, she doesn't trust these heroes, right? But who does she trust? And it's all these misfit kids, right?
And even then, she hasn't been throughout the book. This is a turning point, because all books she's been like, oh, don't drive the AV, don't do this, don't do that. And that's why Non-Fat's surprised when she just says, yeah, okay, I'll go get you the helmet and we can do this. She's trusting them. That's what you say. Like, eventually they have to hand it over to this new generation who might actually save everything.
Right. I'm looking at this thing to see if this is a Tom King original or a Jack Kirby, the Eutritus.
Oh, the planet?
If it has,
it feels like something that could easily be pulled from an old comic.
Yeah. But no, I really like this. I really thought we'd get the end here, and like the last issue would be like a denouement, epilogue kind of, thing. It doesn't seem like that's where it's going to go, because I don't see it resolving up in the beginning and then us getting.
I think there'll be a part of it will be an epilogue, but yeah, like the final moment, the final part of the story is definitely still coming here. But having. And it makes me wonder, like, is the kid, when he's resurrected, and the spirit of or the energy of Atlas is in him, like, is he going to have to do something once he's alive because he's now tied to that? That's what I'm wondering. Like, is he going to have to like sacrifice himself to save the universe, even though he's came back from the dead or something? I don't know. Like, I could see them pulling something like that.
Well, yeah, because there's something too with Orion there that He's like, well, no, we need like the soul or the spirit of Atlas, right? And that's what's holding up the Earth. It's not Atlas himself, right? But it's this force that's also moved on. So yeah, I wonder if that's what it's going to be too.
Because someone says, why don't we resurrect Atlas as well? And he's like, oh, that doesn't matter because the spirit's now in the kid. So
right.
Very interested to see, because I feel like, talking about the meaning of the book and the themes and all that has been one of the most interesting things about it. Obviously, the craft and the page-to-page comic telling is fantastic in the way it does the nuances, but I can't wait for the ending just to sort of have a more like unified, like, okay, here we can look at the whole story now. We can talk about what it's been saying about these characters and about the world. And it's funny we have a group here called the Outsiders when kind of the entire book is full of outsiders. Like, in terms of like they're all misfits. They're all like D-list characters or C-list characters or beyond even. Yeah. And it's just making them like ultimately be the important ones, and like that being a statement for the world is quite interesting. It's quite a poignant story potentially. So it's been fantastic. This was another great issue. It feels like everything's coming together now, and I'm just excited to see how it wraps up. Yeah,
me too.
Yeah. All right. Are we ready to rate? Okay. Issue 11 of Danger Street. What you giving it?
I'm going to give this a, because the art was really good too. We didn't really talk too much about Fornes, and I know you want to eat. So I'll say the art was strong, and for that too, I'll give this a 9.
Yeah, no, it's a 9 out of 10 for me as well. It's fantastic. Obviously it's had 1 or 2 standout issues that have went even above this, but this is another fantastic issue. It's kind of par for the course now with this book at this point.